Hi, hi everybody. It's Jim DeLuce. I know I'm talking to some friends on here as well. Some of you are friends that are tuning in, and some of you are complete strangers. And hmm, sure, I guess I'm kind of tuning teeth there. I think I got it. Okay. So basically, what I wanted to get at was the fact that I'm basically talking to two different audiences. I'm talking to strangers, and I'm talking like complete people that I don't know, okay, and people that are on my Facebook friends list, and I'd like to kind of balance both audiences appropriately. Um, Subject of my topic today is basically with what I term social Darwinism, or um, this whole idea that well, let's just start with the idea that our society is oppressive, okay? Most people don't necessarily agree with that. A lot of people, have privileged positions in our society, make lots of money. Sound familiar? Um, or maybe they're just brainwashed. Maybe they don't make any money, and maybe they're big fat losers, but or they're not really losers, but society considers them to be, you know, just a waste of space, and for lack of a better term. And they still live under the illusion that they live in some kind of a system that actually rewards them for being who they are. Okay, so under that premise, which is absolutely false, comes the idea of social Darwinism. Social Darwinism is essentially the idea that, it's the idea that, basically people with social status and money and power, and in this hierarchical society, a society that is structured on hierarchy. Okay, hierarchy. Um, there's nothing democratic about our society except for the fact that we vote our leader in. Okay, our supreme leader is voted in every 4 years. We elect a dictator. Okay, so just so you guys know, every 4 years we elect a dictator, and or a dictating party. Sorry, I should say, with the dictator in chief. Okay, and they run our country. They run, our society. Okay, and this is without even mentioning the fact that most Western societies are basically dominated by corporate elites, but that's beside the point. Or maybe not. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is this: our society was built on slavery, and it still is. We still have a system that effectively runs on what I call wage slavery, or what Marx called wage slavery, and many other Marxist scholars have called wage slavery. Okay, sound familiar? I don't know if it does or not, but essentially the fact that we're compelled to work not for ourselves, not we don't actually get to see any of the benefit that we produce. Okay, okay. So we don't actually see any of the benefit we produce. We see a small portion of it. We don't actually get the full value of our labor. Okay. No, we get exploited for our labor. The worker gets exploited for his labor, for his or her labor. And I'm saying that because I'm a guy, so I'm thinking him. But the worker gets exploited for his or her labor, um, because of the fact that they are basically working for a larger entity, which is controlled by a smaller group of people. Take corporations. Corporations are businesses. They're owned by either a business owner, if it's an individual franchise. Usually not, though. In today's society, most businesses are large corporations. Okay, these corporations are run by small groups of people called a board of trustees. Okay, and the board of trustees is responsible for maintaining the interests of the shareholders. Shareholders are not necessarily the nicest guys in the world, not usually, because they make decisions that are strictly related to making profit for the company. They're sure they can be fined and dandy their families and their children and all that. You know, Noam Chomsky pointed that out. I think you know they could be fined people to their gardener, you know, or whatever other wage slave they have working for them, you know. But at the end of the day, folks, at the end of the day, guys, okay, this is a system that is run on the compulsion to make money, and the compulsion to make money is kept within the limit of the ownership of capital. Okay, the ownership of capital is not widely diffused. It's concentrated within the hands of a small group of individuals, and these individuals dominate the marketplace. They own the means of production, which is essentially the way the goods and services are produced in a society. Okay, if you're still following me, um, and essentially, you know, they're able to control the value of labor by bringing in technology to reduce the need for labor. They're able to also tap into foreign markets where they can then export their labor force to foreign markets now. That's a result of globalization of the workforce. Now we see, you know, and of course we've seen for a long time now, you know, as we all know, right? Uh, Companies outsourcing their production to other countries, which you know the workforce is paid very small amount of money. Um, and the point I'm trying to make here is this, okay? Um, and I hope you're following me. I hope you're still following this argument here because basically what I'm saying is this, okay? We are compelled to do what we do, and we're given the smallest amount of reward that we can possibly get just in order to maintain the system, okay? The system is not for our benefit. That's a bold statement, okay? It is true. It is true. The system does not exist for our benefit. Just as in the history of Western society, it's always been based on the domination of a small group of elites, basically. Okay, elitists, people that control the mechanism of the system to their capital in this case. In capitalism, it's dominated by capital. Okay, they own the businesses, they own the large corporations that actually create the wealth and create the products and services that keep the economy going. And the economy functions basically because the workers are paid a small amount of money or just enough to survive, you know, or whatever. Or some people are specialized education and their labor is more in demand, so they're paid a little bit more. But essentially, you know, if the capitalists can get away with paying less for their labor than they do, right? And so you know there's a class system going on, obviously, right? We know that it's capitalism based on the class system, okay? And that means, you know, again, that's a very antisocial way of running a society, okay? If you really think about it, okay, really kind of wrap your minds around this fucking idea. Sorry, I just swore. I promised I wasn't going to do that on YouTube videos. I'm notorious for swearing on my Facebook channels, and I apologize. I apologize to my varied audience. I apologize. It's just so, it's just so, um, it's just so, you know, outrageous. You know, it's outrageous, and you know, I honestly, I just, it makes me upset to think about it sometimes because, you know, a lot of people don't see this, right? They think, well, you know, this is the way it works. This is the way it's always worked. Well, you know, yeah. You know, I mean, that's what they said. That's what the Romans said. That's what the slaves said when they were toiling away for the Romans, and that's what every society has always said. This is the way it works, right? So, you this is the society we live in. This is the way it works, right? But people don't actually fucking question the system. I mean, they don't step outside of it for a second. And I don't really care. Like I think my friend Joseph said I shouldn't swear, but I think it's really important to just drive this message home. We are basically wage slaves, or for lack of a better term, compelled to produce goods and services that are not necessarily for our own benefit. I mean, most of these goods and services are unaffordable to most people. Okay, I mean, how many people actually take a vacation every year? Okay, I mean, and there's a whole airline industry, and a lot of people can't even afford cell phones, right? I mean, there are computers. Okay, there's a large section of the population can't afford computers, and or vehicles or anything, right? So, I mean, these products are, and it all exists because of a bifurcation of the amount of wealth that these people own, and they basically have and again, now people are saying the middle class is shrinking, the middle class is shrinking. Well, you know, okay, but what about the idea that we actually have a class system? I mean, isn't that like kind of bad enough? I mean, the fact that people are actually lumped into classes of individuals, and people actually see each other in that way too, because I know that the poor and the working class, they always think, oh no, we live in a classless society. People don't actually look at class anymore, But you just ask one of these people with money, or that are born into privilege, and they will tell you that they don't want their son or daughter marrying some carpenter or some truck driver. Okay, this does not happen, and this is a yeah, it's just the whole idea of the way that this thing works. Okay, is just it's just it's repulsive when you think about it, because it's based on the division of different people. Okay, it's just based on social divisions. It's based on competition, which is it's I was gonna say dangerous, but it's actually damaging. Damaging is the word I'm looking for. Damaging to society. Okay, damaging to the cohesion of society, and not just cohesion. Cohesion's a fancy word for saying, the social relations, the love, the empathy, the neighborliness, the friendliness of a society, the overall happiness. Okay, these are all things that suffer under a system of intense competition, where different people are always competing with each other to climb their way up to get to the top, right? This is what happens. Okay, this is what happens in our system, and I think we can recognize this at this point. Okay, so no, I'm not even going to get into the whole argument of capitalism versus communism. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. And I, Joseph Zwick, a friend of mine, said I shouldn't swear on my videos, but I'm not trying to be, vulgar, but I think these things are just so, this is an adult subject, and I think we're all adults here, and I think this is something that really needs to be explored, and I think the the mere emotional charge associated, at least with me, in regards to this subject, being in a certain class position myself, that where I face oppression almost daily, warrants a certain emotional response. Okay, so what I'm getting at is that and it's quite clear. I mean, this system is the warning signs are all over that this system is just not working anymore. If it ever did work, I mean, you might say it was a stepping stone at some point. Marx claimed that himself, right? And we all say, quoting Marx, all the conservatives are jumping in their seats because I'm quoting Marx. Well, Marx actually provided the most advanced critique of capitalism. Okay, whether or not you're a card-carrying communist or a Stalinist Leninist, for crying out loud, I mean, and whether you want some kind of dark bureaucracy ruling over your life, I'm not, I'm not, I'm not, I'm not. suggesting that there should be any such thing. Okay, that's not what I'm suggesting. Okay, I want to make that very clear. I am not a fan of bureaucracy. I don't think that bureaucracy should have any place in a civilized society. Okay, I think bureaucracy. I think the less bureaucracy, the better. Okay, and that's where I'm coming from. Okay, and I mean, at some point we have to decide, ladies and gentlemen, whether we want to gradually get rid of this democracy or this bureaucracy, or whether we actually want to eliminate it um, in a piecemeal basis. Okay, at a slower rate, through progressive evolution of society or whatever. Okay, for example, and the fact of the matter is that we don't really have time for that. Okay, there is a little thing called the ticking clock right now because of we have a very short period of time in order to do this because of the fact that we're actually destroying our planet. By all accounts, the environment is being destroyed very rapidly. I mean, the natural environment, the ecosystems on which all life on this planet is sustained, is being destroyed. So not only is this system exploiting people regularly and very oppressive to a large amount of people that work low wages and subsist on those wages and just feel totally oppressed by the system, and those who are beneficiaries supposedly of government welfare, okay, and like disability or whatever, right? Um, and don't have a hope in hell of getting a job or a decent one at that. I mean, this system is it's over, man. It's over, guys. It's over, ladies. You know, this is this is a moot point. Okay, it's a moot point. I mean, we can argue this back and forth. You can tell me your reasons if you think that there is a reason to keep the system or to maintain the status quo. Please leave your comments in the box below. Or if you have an argument in the other way, please leave your comments in the box below. But what I'm suggesting is that we need to find ways of turning this around fast because I think it was Terrence McKenna said this is a sinking ship. Okay, and people watch the news, they get depressed. Okay, and people are afraid. You know, most people live in a state of constant fear and anxiety. Okay, I'm not saying I do. I did for a long time, but I've had a series of experiences myself where I just don't. Nothing phases. Nothing can. I don't have any fear anymore of anything. Of anything, any dire circumstances. Like I don't even really fear death anymore. I know that sounds kind of bold statement, right? But it's true, right? I mean, I've been through a lot, right? I've been through some issues myself with mental health, and I've been dealt a hard hand. So my name's Jim DeLuce, by the way, and it's a pleasure to meet you all. And I've been through some tough times, okay, and I've also been on the oppressive. I've been on the receiving end of the oppression, okay, for quite some time now, and I don't like it too much, you know. I don't like it, and I know what it feels like, and that's my subjective experience. But you just read the literature, and I'm not talking about what some egg-headed conservative that's driving for more profits and more GDP and wants more capital growth and oil pipelines built. I mean, these guys are out to lunch. Okay, they're materialist, rationalist pigs. Okay, they think like, and I'm not claiming they're all assholes, but these most of these guys are just in it for the money. Okay, so they are assholes, really. I mean, most of them are. Okay, they have the bot. They have the mentality where they side with the bot. If you're a worker, you understand that most bosses today and most management are not your friend. Okay, and unless you plan on becoming a management prospect yourself, and not everybody achieves that, and not everybody is favored by the boss. Okay, but and groomed for management position, then you are you're basically in a sort of yeah, or at least it's quite possible or probable or likely or perhaps sometimes likely that you're in a relationship with your boss that often is very how should I put this, kind of I guess you might say, for lack of a better term, not confrontational, but you know chaotic or oppressive. Your boss might be oppressive towards you, or I mean, act in manners that are totally you know uh, not conducive to your well-being. Okay, I mean, we've all experienced that, right? I think. Um, your boss is a mean son of a bitch, right? I mean, sorry about the language, but they are, right? I mean, a lot of them are. Not all of them, but most of them. Most of them can be downright nasty. They don't care about your life at all. The system is not geared towards your life. Okay, the means of production, the means of producing goods and services, your work. Okay, your livelihood is not geared towards you. It's not geared towards you. You think this system works for you? I mean, really? Because it doesn't. I'm telling you right now, it does not work towards you. It works towards capital production, towards uh, capital accumulation for the wealthy. Okay, that's another thing. The wealthy make off like bandits, and they accumulate wealth or money makes money for them. Okay, so if you have access to a large amount of capital, please give me some, because then I can start just having my capital accumulate wealth for myself, and I won't have to work a day in my fucking life. Okay, you know, this is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, this is what it is. This is the system we live in, and everybody thinks, well, this is society. This is, and no, I mean, it's just I just want to fit in. I just want to have cool friends, or be part of the hip group, or I just want to be part of the. They don't even call it hip. They don't want to be hip. They want to be square, man. It's like I want to fit in with the Joneses. I want to have more stuff. Okay, what is this? Like, is this all we can? Is this the pinnacle of human achievement? That I want more stuff, and I'm willing to slave my life away and be a real prick, or maybe be a real prick, maybe not, but usually it's being you, like I said, clawing your way to the top. You're in competition with your fellow workers. Okay, so that means that you're trying to outcompete them, and that means that you have at some level an adversarial relationship towards your coworkers. That's a given. That's a given in a capitalist society. You have to have you have to maintain an adversarial or semi-adversarial uh, relationship with your coworkers at some level. Okay, at some level, because you're always in competition, or else if you're not in competition, if you're just Mr. Nice Guy at work all the time, trust me, you're gonna get shit on, and everybody knows that. Okay, everybody knows that the nice guys finish last, right? You've heard that saying before, right? Well, it shouldn't be that way, but it is. And only in our society. Okay, that wasn't the case in, yeah, it's not the case in any society that values its members. Okay, but our society does not value its members. We're numbers in a fucking system. Okay, we're numbers in a system. That's all we are. That's all I am. I know that. You know what? I even if I had like $200 million, okay. Even if I had $200 million, I'd still be just a number in a system because there's always somebody with more wealth than I have. Okay, always. You can guarantee that there's somebody with more wealth than I have. Okay. So anyway, where am I going with all this? I don't know. I mean, I just wanted to open up the discussion. I wanted to get you guys thinking, you know what I mean? Like, I just, and I don't know, some of you already are aware of this, and, you know, if you are, then that's good. You know, or at least that shows that you have some level of knowledge about how the system works. Um, you know, most people don't. Okay, most people, or at least most people don't like to think about it because it ruins their dinner plans. You know, they don't feel like eating, or they get depressed and they have to go on a variety of different types of medications that are available now from big pharma. You know, I mean that's what these medications are for. They're basically to you know, a lot of them, the antidepressants. Why do you think antidepressants are so popular now? I mean, people are just you know, at a loss. You know, people are losing their will to live. It's not a joke, you know, for a lot of people. I mean, some of you guys are, you know, probably doing all right. Good. You know, I'm glad for you. If you're doing well, I'm not jealous or anything. Because I'm doing well myself. You know, I've come a long way myself, and you know, in my own journey. Okay, but you know, I'm not here to talk about myself because this is a public video on YouTube, and I'm sure you don't want to hear about me. I'm sure you probably want to hear about, you know, what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I'll keep it at that. I'll keep it at that for now. Like I said, I've been through quite a bit. I've been through probably the most oppressive aspects of the system, the mental health system, for one, welfare, like which is disability basically. I've been on disability for 7 years. I have a university education in political science and English, okay, English literature, and you know what? Hasn't been easy, man. It hasn't been easy at all. Hasn't been easy because I have been shit on like crazy. And you know the fact of the matter is that I think at some level I think, yeah, and everybody knows this, that you know, because we live in this intensely competitive society, people are constantly preying on the weak. So if you have a mental illness or depression or anxiety, people are going to fucking eat you alive. Okay, and at work you're fucking toast. Okay, you're toast, buddy. You better get those meds pumped into you right away because you're fucking done. Okay, you're in trouble losing your job in most cases. You know, you have to worry about that. Okay, what is this? This is freedom, really? I can go to Tim Hortons and or I can go to Starbucks or whatever, you know, whatever coffee shop, you know, you have in your country, and I can sit there and I can enjoy a coffee with my friend, and that is what I live for. That's my entertainment. That Or I can go see one of many Hollywood movies which act as, you know, some kind of a propagandistic you know, sort of socialization type. You know, it's entertainment, but it's also it also has a socializing effect in terms of the ideologies and the thought patterns that sort of permeate the system as well. So there's certain social behaviors, social cues that are built into the characters' behaviors, okay, and the situations they're in, and you know, society. I mean, everything's, you know, Hollywood's you know, also has a propagandistic aim. I mean, that's as simple as I can put it, okay, without you know, just smudging my words. You know what I mean? I mean, and if you don't think Hollywood is like propaganda central, then I guess I'm the one wearing the tinfoil hat here. Okay, but I don't think I am, and I know I'm not. And so maybe you guys are the ones. Maybe some of you guys, not everybody. I know a lot of you guys probably understand what I'm saying, but for those that actually think that Hollywood, for those people that actually think that Hollywood is there just simply for your entertainment, okay, that we don't live in a society where propaganda exists or anything like that. We're beyond propaganda, right? No, wrong, wrong. No, that's not true. It's not true. I mean, okay, you can say what you want. I mean, but we because we live in a democracy, it's even more important to propagandize the public. It's even more important that they think the way that they want you to think because you live in a somewhat free society where you're not in trouble of as much oppression as we've had over the past several thousand years. I mean, and supposedly we're the freest society that's ever existed. I mean, one has to wonder. I mean, only 100 years ago when we had horses pulling our buggies. I mean, so the question is: has our social system actually caught up to our technological advancement? Has our social relations have we evolved in terms of the way we treat each other, and have our systems evolved as fast as our technology has? I think you guys are qualified to answer that question, just having watched this and listened to my little rant here. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. And I'm not trying. Again, I know a lot of you guys probably agree with what I'm saying, and I'm glad that you were able to listen in. And I don't know if this is all new to you or not, but hey, it's interesting stuff. I think it's interesting anyway, but a lot of people don't. I was always totally, thrown off by how many people don't find this stuff interesting or whatever because they don't think it's relevant to their lives. Well, it's totally false. It is relevant to your life. Okay, it's totally relevant, and I mean, the only way it wouldn't be relevant is if you're in some kind of a position of, like privilege. Okay, and even then, it's relevant to your neighbors. It's relevant to your fellow human beings, and eventually, it's going to be relevant to your grandchildren and your children, your children, your grandchildren, your grandchildren's children. Okay, so you guys, everybody should start thinking about this stuff. I think it's definitely something people should start thinking about. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'm glad you tuned in, and I'm gonna be making more videos of this sort, or maybe I can talk about different things, but I sort of like to stay on this topic or something, different political, social, psychological topics, different types of. Basically, I'm kind of intellectual, so I like to keep things kind of, I like to keep people thinking and, give people food for thought. That's my mission. Food for thought is the key word here. So I hope you all are well and have a good day and take care. All right. So yeah. All right. Take care. See ya.